Oh, welcome to Washed Up, where your two favorite washed up football players bring you the sport you love the most, your mother's favorite talk show. JD, good to be back with you, my man.
Jake, I missed you, man. I'm glad that we're back doing this. It's been too long, but I'm happy to see you again,
too.
man.
I miss your voice in my ear, JD. I think about it at night.
That's a little weird, but I've missed you too.
Well, it's good to be back. JD, we got a lot of games coming up, a lot of important games, JD. Every game now is either the championship or playoffs, but today we are talking about that championship game coming up, JD, the 2019 College Football National Championship. The LSU Tigers face those Clemson Tigers down in the South. Virtual home game for the LSU Tigers. JD, this is a very interesting matchup. Clemson, LSU, I think Ohio State was the better team against Clemson, but we'll say Clemson's a better team because they obviously won. So we got the two top teams in college football playing against each other. JD, give me your thoughts when you think about these Tigers going against each other.
Well, first of all, for whoever's calling this on the radio, this is going to be really interesting to call if you're calling Tigers and Tigers. So you got to really be specific with the LSU versus Clemson thing if you're doing the play-by-play and the color on the radio. But, you know, the first thing that jumps off the bat is the quarterback play in this one. I think that's the biggest thing in any game, but especially this one with Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow, both who have been playing exceptional football down the stretch, especially in the semifinal game, going to be bearing the weight of both the pass game and the run game for Clemson if you're Trevor Lawrence. And then obviously for LSU, Joe Burrow been really sensational all year long. You can't ask for much more than what he's done for this program. Will be, without a doubt, a legend in Louisiana football history. So really going to be exciting to see who brings their A game and shines the brightest on the biggest stage. Jake, going to be a good one.
Yeah, I agree, JD. Again, Clemson, in my opinion, kind of got out of there a little fortunate out of that semifinal, JD. Ohio State, I think, was the better team. J.K. Dobbins gets hurt. There's a little mistake on a route at the end. They were driving. But here's this thing, JD. Clemson did stop Ohio State in the red zone, and that was obviously imperative to winning that game as it came down into the end. And Trevor Lawrence really took over that game with his legs. They did obviously have success throwing the ball later in the game, but the big plays with his legs was the momentum change, at least. And scoring at the end of that half. In my opinion, JD, Trevor Lawrence is like the Deshaun Watson for the Houston Texans. It all runs through him. If he can throw the ball, if he can run the ball, he's got to do it. There's no one else on that team that can do it except Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, and it's interesting you made that comparison because Dabo Swinney, the head coach for Clemson, who coached Deshaun Watson, obviously, made the exact same comparison. He said, Trevor Lawrence reminds me of Deshaun Watson. And it's funny because he said Deshaun Watson reminds him of Michael Jordan. So I don't really know how Michael Jordan plays into this, but without a doubt, high praise for Trevor Lawrence being compared to a former national champion in Deshaun Watson.
No, I do, and I think it'll be up to LSU to stop Trevor Lawrence. I do find it interesting, G, that Clemson 6.1 yards per rush attempt. Oklahoma was 6 yards per rush attempt. So very similar rushing attacks here between Oklahoma and Clemson. Both quarterbacks love to run the ball. Obviously, Jalen Hurts was a little more effective in that way. And what did LSU do with it? Absolutely everything. I mean, Jalen Hurts was pretty much not effective. He was a non-factor with his legs running the ball on that LSU. It wasn't like they were able to take the ball away from Joe Burrow, and that offense very long, and every time they give it back, well, we know what happened. So I really think that Trevor Lawrence running in this game might not be as effective as it was in the Ohio State game, and that doesn't bode well for, again, a Clemson team that when they were stuck really relied on that to get them out of the mud.
No, completely. The way that Trevor Lawrence was able to run the football in that semifinal game made this Clemson offense so much more versatile and so much more dynamic. You saw things open up for them, especially on that scoring drive. The pass play to ETN was really kind of a gimmicky pass play that was set up off of, a quarterback lead that had worked all game, and so they threw a wrinkle in there at the end of the game, and off ETN went. So if Trevor Lawrence is able to run the football, I should say, that's going to be all the difference in the world for Clemson and able to keep this LSU defense guessing. Now, it is worth noting this LSU defense has not been stellar all year long. They've had some minor hiccups in the road against a Texas team that let up, I think it was 30 or 40 points against an offense that really proved themselves to be really pretty average. Texas was throughout the remainder of the year.
The Bama game was both in the 40s there, JD.
Yeah, I mean, this LSU defense gives up points. Now, it's worth noting that the LSU offense scores so often that this LSU defense is on the field quite a bit. So that could be something that plays into the statistics of what you get when you look at this LSU defense. But bottom line, it's going to come down to which secondary is able to slow down these quarterbacks. Obviously, both great talents with Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow, like we mentioned already, but it's going to be quite a bit of work for both of these teams on the back end defensively to stop what these teams have.
Clemson ranks number 1 in opponent completion percentage, LSU number 3. But with Clemson being that number 1 opponent completion percentage, how do they defend all the weapons that LSU brings in and can attack you with?
I guess, that's really the million-dollar question, and if I had to answer for you, I guarantee you I would not be sitting in front of my iPhone right now filming this video. I would be somewhere.
You wouldn't be washed up?
I would not be washed up, Jake. I would be making a lot of money doing something else, calling defensive plays. But really what it comes down to is I think you just have to find a way to neutralize them or slow them down. I don't think you're going to be able to actually stop this LSU offensive attack. I think you just got to have enough to keep up with. So for me, in my opinion, that comes down to Clemson just being opportunistic on defense. They got to be able to be a step ahead of Joe Burrow and make him play hesitant football. This LSU defense has absolutely diced and sliced people up all year long with their RPO attack. And if Brett Venables, the defensive coordinator for Clemson, can make Joe Burrow second-guess himself even a little bit, that's going to be an enormous deal for Clemson as they try and win this football game.
I think it's a great point, JD, because you saw Oklahoma not being able to sustain drives, and then they would punt it over to LSU, and it seemed like literally within a minute they were scoring touchdowns. That first half, especially the first quarter, I remember thinking to myself, how long is this quarter going to go on? It was like 45 minutes in the game, and there's still 5 minutes left, just because LSU was scoring so much that it was slowing down the clock. But I really think Clemson needs to slow down that clock, and not by LSU scoring, but just by keeping that ball, at least sustaining drives to a point where you can flip field position, not letting LSU score within a minute or 2 minutes, but making them drive 3-4 minutes. It's okay to let them score, but don't let them just score in heaps.
Yeah, and even more so than flipping the field, or maybe in the same breath, equally as important as flipping the field, letting your defense get a rest. If you're on the field all of the time and just taking play after play, minute after minute, just having to stay out there, it's really going to wear on a team, and that makes it just even more difficult to stop the opposition. So I agree with you 100%. Sustaining drives and giving your defense a chance to catch its breath is going to be crucial to the outcome of this game for Clemson. They have to be able to dictate their tempo and not get caught up in too much of a shootout with LSU, because you're not winning a shootout with LSU with Joe Burrow.
Now, JD, if Clemson's secondary is able to stop Joe Burrow, at what point do you think Clyde Edwards took over this game? Because we did see J.K. Dobbins before he seemed like he really injured himself, and good for him playing through it. But he was very effective in getting 2 60-yard plus runs against Clemson that set them up. Ohio State up. They didn't really end up punching it in, which was unfortunate at the end of the game, but it did set them up in great field position and scoring chances.
I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the most impactful role he will have in this game will be at the end of the game when LSU is trying to pick up first downs to put it away. I think he's going to be a great complement to what LSU wants to do offensively throwing the football, and obviously any time that you're able to run the ball effectively, it sets up the pass effectively. But listen, I think what he brings to the table is being able to dictate the tempo of the LSU offense. And so at the end of the game, when when Clemson knows you're running the football, everyone in the stadium knows you're running the football, can Clyde Edwards-Helaire get the football, run behind that big offensive line, and pick up first downs to put the game away? I think that's where you see him show the biggest amount of his worth in this game to me.
I agree. And I also think, based on that, Clemson's defensive line needs to step up in that sense, not letting Clyde Edwards run against them, but also putting pressure on Joe Burrow. It seems like he sits back there a lot and has all day to throw. And I know he gets the ball out quick, but when there's no one in your face, JD, a lot of quarterbacks in a lot of leagues can complete a lot of passes.
Yep.
So getting in his face, making sure, again, these LSU Tigers just can't do what they want with the ball. I don't know if they can do it, JD. It's been a tough task that no one seems to have figured out all year long. And that's why I think these Tigers are really going to take it to these Tigers. I mean, the LSU Tigers or the Clemson Tigers, JD. I got the score 44-33, LSU winning.
I like that a lot. You know what? I'm actually going to side with you almost to the score. LSU, I think, will score 44 points. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Obviously, both teams have a lot of talent on defense, but just there's too many weapons in this game, Jake, and too much talent on the offensive side of the ball for either team to really be neutralized in terms of scoring.
you want to stop Jamar Chase. You want to stop Jamar Chase from really killing you in that semifinals game. And out of nowhere, here comes Jefferson with 4 touchdowns.
I mean, it's got to just be maddening to be defensive coordinator to have to game plan for this team. And oh, by the way, Thaddeus Moss, the big tight end, yes, he is related to Randy Moss, the son of Randy Moss, actually. He's also a threat in the middle of the field. And then you got this running back, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, I don't know how you account for everybody that LSU has on offense. So I agree. I think. Go ahead.
You're a second cousin of Randy Moss, aren't you?
Second cousin of Randy Moss, twice removed. So people don't get us mistaken too often.
Twice removed.
Twice removed. Yeah.
Sorry.
So people don't get us mistaken too often on the street, but we are of a relation. Unfortunately, he didn't have any more tickets for me in this game. He gave it to his first removed cousin. So,
hey, it's all right, JD.
Yeah,
all right.
But all things considered, I'm with you. I like Clemson, or excuse me, I like LSU to win this game. The other Tigers, I like LSU to win this game, 44-41. I think the LSU secondary makes a play at the end of the game to seal it. I'm going to call my shot here. I think Grant Delpit, the safety, Jim Thorpe Award winner, makes a big play to win this game. Maybe then gets an interception, forces a fumble, something of that nature. But the guy who wears number 7, which is a big honor at LSU, I think he puts it away and has a game-breaking play for LSU to go home with some hardware, and for Joe Burrow to finish his college career with a ring on his finger and finish what's been a historic season, and to cement his legacy even more so into LSU football lore.
It's going to be a fun bus ride back for them Tigers, JD.
Oh, man, it's going to be a nice little short 1-hour deal. They're headed back to Baton Rouge from New Orleans. So, yeah, man, going to be a good time on that bus. I have no doubt about it.
Awesome. Well, that's it for us today, JD. You want to send us out and tell everyone that we are coming back to them with some, I guess, curveball NFL action?
NFL action, man. Why not? Let's keep this train rolling. I'm having a good time. I don't see any reason to stop it here. Like you said, we'll be back with some NFL action in the very, very near future. And we're looking forward to seeing you all around. Make sure you're crushing the like and subscribe button. I kind of hate myself for saying that, but please do it. I'm washed up and I need this, and Jake needs this too. But yeah, come back around. We'll be here for the duration of however long we choose to do this.
Washed up, baby.